It's me, Vera, here to remind you that this is an adult podcast. That means we're going to deal with tough topics. Take a break if you need it, and be kind to yourself, because we sure won't be.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cracked Crown, a Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition podcast. As always, I am your storyteller, Mike Martin, joined by my four wonderful players today, Josh, Dot, Jason, and Mark. Hello again, everybody. Welcome back.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
I'm excited. Today's a fun one. I'm finally having a conversation with Robert after his arrival in Gary. We'll get to that in a bit, but before we do that, let's get the shilling out of the way. Hey, thank you guys so much for supporting the show. If you enjoy the show and you want to support us, please head to patreon.com/podbynight. You can directly support the show monetarily there. You get some cool goodies in the back end. We got the hiccups. Vera just dropped. Dot just dropped yesterday. Every after show for this.
I think all of them except for the one shots we're doing with Tracy and I for SOS, but the rest of them we are caught up on Pod by Night after shows. You got like a whole lot of time, and we announced. I think it's important that we're kind of doing after shows in the duo pair since we now record 2 at a time. We're doing one after show for both because that's better on our cast, but they tend to be a little bit longer than our last one, so it makes up for it in terms of 2 after shows into one long one.
You get something chunkier, something you can listen to for a little longer. On top of that, you get access to things like our community game if you have the right tier, where you can kind of take part in the background of Gary, Indiana as a kindred of your own in like a text-based RP, some private rooms in the Discord. But if you can't monetarily afford it, just listening to it goes a long way. Drop us a review on whatever podcast app you're listening to. You have no idea how big that actually helps in terms of just getting more ears on us. On top of that, you can just join our Discord for totally free. We're climbing our way to 1,000 members of that Discord. So just jump in. There's so much conversation that happens there. It's hard to keep up with, but there's so much cool lore and theory and plot discussion. There's one of the big things, Jason, is that nobody trusts Robert is still actually giving us his true persona and his true intent.
They are convinced that you are actually that you're keeping things.
We'll see. I'm not gonna spoil anything. I'm just saying, like, it's a hot topic of conversation over in the into the Discord. So yeah, you guys can jump into that for free and just like join the community. The community is huge and only getting bigger, and we really do appreciate you guys supporting the show and just being so enthusiastic to always be talking about it and theorizing and letting your friends know. It really does go a long way. If that's it, was there something else? I feel like last time there was something else. Just best wishes to Bub. Bub's doing great. He's in his healing stages right now. I know he's eager to get back. He was like tweeting about it and stuff, that he's like ready to get back into working, but he's resting up. He's doing his thing, and Bub will be back when he's ready to come back, and we'll be here eagerly awaiting the return of Duke when he does. That all being said, we have a conversation to pick up on, a cliffhanger to pick up on this episode. So without further ado, let's rein things in, set the scene, and see what our coterie is up to. It's that deep voice that greets us again, that says, "I had to make sure it was you," as the screen fades in, and our vision sits in the middle of the street. Across, we see a small club of a brick building with bars on the windows, simply titled The Bare Knee. And just near the door is the familiar face of Robert. On the other side to where he's facing, locked eyes, is a familiar face to Robert, but not necessarily to us. The once Prince of Chicago, Maxwell. For those who do not know, Maxwell is a younger looking individual. You would place him somewhere, if you were to kind of guess, in his 30s maybe. He's wearing a very nice gray suit. He's got short kind of cornrowed hair and dark black skin, and he smiles widely at you once he locks eyes with you. And he takes a few steps forward, and before even allowing you to speak, I warn you now not to make any sudden decisions, movements. violent actions. Don't be fooled, I'm not alone. You're making one step toward me that is not confidently peaceful. You will be put down like a rabid dog, do you understand?
Maxwell Maximilian Maxfield, you always were dramatic. I can't believe I'm looking at you here as I unlive and unbreathe.
I could say the same for you. I wasn't sure it was you. I had heard some kindred had found their way into Gary, and I thought you were too busy being Jackson's lapdog to come out this way.
You know me better than that. I'm no one's lapdog.
That was what I had put my money on coming to you tonight. Shall we go for a stroll?
A stroll would be wonderful.
He gestures to walk in a particular direction as with an open hand, and as you start walking, he walks beside you. How tall is Robert again? I don't know if we ever got that. I don't know if we know.
He's about 6'2".
So yeah, you're a good chunk taller than Max. He's somewhere around 5'7", 5'8". And as you stroll around the corner and walk further away from the strip club, he continues conversation. Well, it's been quite a while since I've laid eyes on you. How have you been?
Oh, I've been worse. Decided to come out of my shell a little bit the last year or so. I'm tired. Grew tired of one of my facades. So now that you might say Gary allowed me to spread my butterfly wings.
His smile, widens as he shrugs his shoulders and he kind of walks rather relaxed next to you. I never got the pleasure of meeting who you were pretending to be as. I'm glad that you were able to shed that if it makes you uncomfortable.
Well, I'm sure it's a persona I could revisit from time to time, but for now I feel refreshed.
He kind of, as his smile slowly fades, he nods his head. It was the impromptu visit to a particular family that caught my attention. Someone talking an old English accent, pushing their way through the door rather aggressively. I had a hunch it might be you, and I'm glad it was.
Oh, so that was you, Was your handy business down there?
Partially. What are you doing out here in Gary, Robert? Why are you not back in Chicago?
You might say I'm just enjoying some time with some new friends.
And we both know that would be a lie. Gary, Indiana, Robert, you. As he looks to his left and his right, abandoned buildings and broken down doors. You truly wanted...
Another rat goes scurrying by.
Exactly, and shortly after, a possum makes its way out. You, Robert, never had a flair for the disgusting.
Well, I think everything is disgusting, so it's all kind of on a level playing field, wouldn't you say?
Then maybe we're on a level playing field in this conversation. Where would you like to be, Robert, if you could step back and get everything you ever wanted? Would you want simply a peaceful life back in England?
Maxwell, my dreams are my own. How can I help you today?
You've been in this life as long as I have, maybe longer. There's no helping me. I know you arrived with a handful of other kindred. I don't necessarily know why. There are rumors running around, and apparently one of them is recently threw a get-together. I'm not blind to moves of power, Robert. Why are you here? If you're here to assert some sort of control, perhaps your own ambitions, then we can talk. Maybe we can make something work. But if you're here on the orders of who you were a lapdog for, then I fear that we may be sitting on opposite lines, and I'd like that not to be the case.
Well, in my experience, all lines are blurry.
I agree. Blurry lines can be wiped
I'm
away.
open to what you have to say and could take it back to my new friends. It's interesting.
I am surprised it's so businesslike, Robert. I felt we had a better relationship than that, but it's simple.
Well, it's only been, what, 150 plus years? I mean, give me some time to warm up. Buy a girl a drink, at least.
He chuckles as you say that. Perhaps you're right. I was never, one for the... I didn't like whining and dining. I was just like to get right to the point. So on that, let's just simply say, Gary is mine. I'd like it to remain mine. And it will be publicly mine if we can work together. I've been in Gary for far longer than anybody realizes. Things are coming into place. I don't need you all showing up and shaking that all up. I'd much prefer we come to a table, we discuss, we find ourselves something we both enjoy, a nice middle ground. You get what you want, I get what I want. Everybody goes home happy. I can't imagine you want blood on your hands coming out to Gary, Indiana, Robert. I can't imagine you want Gary, Indiana to be your final resting place, God forbid.
Well, it does have fixer-upper potential, that's for sure. The only place to go is up.
There's certainly some potential here, but Gary is only the beginning.
Well, I'm willing to hear your proposal, but you must tell me one thing, Maxwell. What is going on with this magic that you're doing in the basement of that house? I must know. That wasn't like you before.
I forget how direct you can be. It is not magic per se, and it's not my doing. A serendipitous encounter led me to meeting a rather important lady. She's one of ours. She's a kindred. She just has a bit of a broken mind. But in the cracks of that brokenness, it seems the truth leaks out. Occasionally. I know you went down. I know you saw her. What did she say to you?
She just, actually, called my name. The rest appeared to be gibberish.
Fascinating.
Quite.
I would love to tell you more, but I'll need something else in return. Perhaps you go back to your friends. Let them know I'd love to have a parlay of sorts. Sit down, we'll discuss, and perhaps I can answer some questions, and you all can answer some of mine. And ideally, we all walk away with what we want. I can get you out of here if that's what you're looking for, Robert. I can get you back home.
All right, I'll take your words to my friends and come back. Do you want to set up a meeting place now? Or send a message? Should we use that messenger errand boy that you
He just shakes his head.
paid earlier?
Why don't you return here back at the Bare Knee in 2 nights' time? Give you plenty of time to discuss with your friends. Are you a coterie?
One more question. You don't know Garrett, do you?
He takes a minute. Garrett.
Is he under your control?
No.
Because if he is, the deal's off.
He laughs. I am not aware of this Garrett, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But you didn't answer my question.
Lucky
Would you consider your newfound friends your new coterie? Or would you just simply consider them acquaintances? Is there loyalty there with Robert?
I keep certain things close to my chest.
You always have. I'll take that.
I haven't seen you in 150 years. I'm not going to just vomit out information when you poke me in the stomach.
I appreciate that. Perhaps my giddiness to see somebody that I hadn't seen in a while loosened my lips. Take your night. I appreciate the words you've had with me. Speak with your coterie.
Bring it in, bring it in. I go to
Oh,
hug.
he does. You actually go to hug him, and you actually catch him off surprise when you put your arms around him, he doesn't actually wrap his arms around you immediately. It takes a good second before he pats your back, and there's a slight chuckle. As you kind of step back, he looks behind him, and you see him make just kind of a wave with two of his fingers, and looks back to you. Remember, 2 nights' time, the bare knee. I know Vera's the one kind of running things, so if you can only get her, that's fine. But I'd love to see all of them. As the sentence finishes, a dark car with tinted windows rolls up gently. He opens the passenger side door on his own and slides in. 2 nights. And then he shuts the door. Ka-chunk! Before the wheels roll, you can hear the rubber against the asphalt pick up. And soon he's out of sight.
Wait, how many nights again? I forgot.
So, Robert, would you head back to them now, or would you continue your night looking for ruffians?
This is worth heading back immediately. Okay. The ruffians can wait.
It doesn't take you long to return, as you weren't too far out. But Vera would be the only one there, as the others are off doing their own independent things. Vera, you actually hear footsteps well before expecting anyone, and it's only a single pair before a familiar face rounds the corner.
Vera's got a map of Gary laid out on the table, and she's kind of adding notes and little stickies, and marking people's territory and wants and color coding and such.
Soon as you turn around, you do see Robert standing there.
But that was fast.
Well, Vera, I was out looking for ne'er-do-wells and thugs for us to hire when I was approached. And very quickly had a meeting I did not expect. But perhaps I did. The old Prince Maxwell.
Oh, fancy pants himself. His ears must have been burning. We were just talking about him.
He wants to have a meeting in 2 nights.
Over what?
He wants Gary for himself, although he said it's just the beginning.
Between you and I, Maxwell had his chance. He wasn't fit to rule then. He's not fit to rule now. You don't get a do-over. Let me try again better. That's not how it works. He failed. He fucked up. And now he's scavenging Gary to make claim over something he has no right to.
Well, we are in America, and America loves second chances and forgiveness.
Well, I'm Russian, so fuck him. So, that being said, what do you think? Honestly, what does he really want?
Well, I don't know. He may want to use us. I mean, it's. I haven't worked with him for 150 plus years, so. Your guess is as good as mine, frankly.
How much does he know about us?
He seems to know. He at least knows that we entered the domicile with the magic girl in the basement. I guess I could. Yes. You know what I'm talking about. But interestingly enough, he does not know Garrett at all. So I don't know how really connected he is. Because if anyone were to ever know or meet Garrett, the annoyance that one would feel would ring through your bones for all eternity.
Yes, he is a bit unforgettable, one might say. He does stick to you.
You truly see the visual swallowing of disgust that crawls across Robert's face anytime Garrett is brought up.
He sticks to you like accidental dog poo that you stepped in.
Yes, but dog poo still has a place in this world. Let us not forget, everybody can be useful, even if they are just a pile of dog poo.
Good for fertilizer, either way.
Precisely. Garrett's just fertilizing our extravagant tire business. That being said.
Anyway, so your guess is as good as mine. I'm the newest member of your troop.
Let's be honest. Is Max going to put up a fight?
He may. He did threaten me at the beginning and say if I made, one of those, if you make a wrong move, you'll be chopped
Oh, was he going to
down
take
like...
your head? That's my
Hmm?
favorite. Was he going to take your head?
I think I was just going to be... I can't recall, actually.
It's not a very good threat, is it? It's not a very good threat if you can't remember it.
I
Sounds
can't
like he
even...
was wavering.
it was just one of those, like, stock threats,
Yes, yes.
one might just pull out of their posterior.
Well, since we're talking about his posterior, I want his ass out of Gary, Indiana.
Well, I mean, he wants to have a meeting in 2 nights, so perhaps anything could be brokered.
Brokered? What, he's going to make some deal with us where he gives up the seat he's so desperately trying to hang on to? This is not going to end well, Robert.
I mean, he's been thought dead for 150 years, so there's no reason why he just can't be dead.
You and I are pretty good at one thing, which is lying about our identities. I did it for years, and well, so did you. So, what if we do work with Maxwell? What if we find out what he's planning? Support him. All the way until, well, he's not needed anymore.
I mean, that would be fun.
A little coup might shake things up. I guess
Poor
what I'm
Gary,
saying is
will
we
never be
can't
the
just
same.
kill him off, can we? I feel like that's a bit extravagant, a little messy. Plus, it's going to make the rest of the kindreds here despise us, because who are we to be taking the ex-prince's head? I don't want to play nice, but at the same time, I'm not exactly sure what else to do. And I can hear Jackson out on the phone. Just deal with it.
We have. Was that like the tone of a defiant child as she did that?
Maybe a little bit, as I think about running the bath over and over in his hotel.
There's a silence that falls over after that childish, almost petty remark that still rings rather true as Vera speaks it. But as that kind of falls, is there any more conversation the two of you would like to have?
How much do you know about him, Robert? Actually, how close are you?
He seems to think we are closer than we are, but...
Well, let's not give him any other idea. Feed into his wildest passions for all of his diplomatic bullshit he wants to bring to some negotiation table. Let's hear him out. I'll be interested to hear what Max and Sean think about the issue.
He also said he would be satisfied if you came, but he wanted all of us there.
Of course
now
he
that
does.
feels a little suspicious. Maybe
Well,
we
he's not
should
going to get
all be
all of us.
there, but without his knowledge. At least our Max could be there, hiding in the shadows.
I just figured out how Garrett can be a better fertilizer.
Oh.
You said he did not even know old Garrett, which means he has no idea what he looks like. We'll ask Sean to be lookout, keep an eye out. We'll post Garrett as Sean.
Excellent. Garrett will be Sean. Max will be invisible. I love this plan.
I'm just saying. And then, worst case scenario, if things get bad and he needs to kill someone, he's going after Garrett and not Sean.
The only thing I don't like about that is that means that I can't kill Garrett, but I'm willing to risk that in order for this plan to go forward.
Sometimes we have to make sacrifices, Robert.
Fair enough. And either way, Garrett will be gone.
It's true. But for now, he will be a great stand-in for Sean. He easily could pose, and we just tell him to keep quiet.
Wits awareness.
Not a word.
Yes. Both of you, wits awareness.
I hate it when you call wits awareness.
Wits
Yes,
awareness.
sir.
I have wits again.
Yes, you have
All
2
right.
wits
I have
again.
no successes.
Wow.
I'm thinking about the ridiculousness that is posing Garrett as Sean.
Well, 3 successes.
Yes.
That's
Wow.
wonderful. Perhaps it's because you're closer to the door, or perhaps you're closer to the exit. But you hear what sounds like a distant, muffled, multiple doors shutting, like car doors shutting specifically. Robert, isn't too long before you hear a sharp whistle, and then what sounds like glass shattering. Robert, do you say anything to her?
Are we being robbed?
So Robert just kind of as the conversation is like rolling to the end, he looks around and he just blurts out, "Are we being robbed?" Now that you're listening,
I
Vera,
hurry
Talking
towards
about.
I hurry towards the south.
absolutely, and he takes off. Vera, I imagine you follow in tow.
No, absolutely not. I roll up the map, I grab my bottle of vodka, the cooler with the heart in it, and I go out the back entrance. That's what we have.
As you
it
go to the
for.
back entrance and quickly run up the stairs and maybe out to the side so you can see what's happening across the street from the tire shop, you see a plain sedan just parked, and you see a couple of doors already just shutting, and you can't see the figures that are shutting it, but you're able to see the person jumping into the driver's seat. And I need you all, both of you, to make me another wits awareness as you realize
This I'm gonna rouse for.
as you realize a few Molotov cocktails have been tossed in the direction of your tire shop as fire quickly begins to spread.
Goodness gracious.
Got 4.
God damn! Oh my
Good
God!
thing
What
there
a
was
roll!
nobody in there.
Jesus Christ!
Wits awareness, and I'm going to add the 2 dice for my successful rouse. 3.
Okay, you both see a man in a gray hoodie with red sunglasses on his eyes that are rather big. A larger man as well, with a goatee around his mouth, and a really pale looking skin that's just easy to like. He's like me, pale basically. Like he like glows under a black light. As he quickly slips into the driver's seat, the car kind of wobbles as he shuts the door, and the engine revs up as it's about to take off.
How far away are they?
You went
from
out the
this
back door, so
entrance?
a bit of a
Yeah.
distance. You have celerity, I believe, but I don't know if you have celerity to move up.
I do have fleetness. I will I drop the things in some safety where I'm at,
Yeah.
right? And I will use fleetness to catch up to the car.
Can you just put fleetness in as a power? I just don't, because I don't remember the details of that. And while you're doing that,
Absolutely.
Robert, how are you reacting?
I am drawing my pistol
Taking shots? Are you going to shoot at the car?
and firing at the
Are
vehicle.
you firing at any particular part of the vehicle, or just at the vehicles generally? Like you trying to shoot the tire out?
The back window.
Or the back window. Okay, got it. Let's see what she rolls first.
So I've got to rouse again. And then I get to add my celerity rating to the dice.
So you're going to make me a Dex Athletics plus celerity. And Robert, as you pull the pistol out, you're going to be making me a Dexterity firearms check as you fire at the back window to blow out the back window. Oh my God, Vera. Jesus Christ.
Have an 8.
With 2 successes, Robert, you could spend a willpower and re-roll 3 of the failures if you'd like. Hey, so you had one more success. 3 successes. So what we see as the car engine revs up and they start to roll away, we pull back a bit and we see Vera very quickly place down what object she has. And do you even give a look to Robert, or do you simply take off?
No, I'm running straight for the tail end of the vehicle.
Vera leaps over the nearby fence with deft grace, and her heels lands on the asphalt. And Robert, you watch as she takes off faster than any human you could ever imagine moving. She doesn't move in a blink. That's a later power. But the way she moves, as fast as she moves, she's probably running at like 30 miles an hour. And she has long strides as she takes off down the road. But you don't take in that too much, as this is something you've seen done many times over your century plus of being unalive. And we see you pull your gun. What kind of gun are you using? What is exactly that you have stashed away as your handgun, Robert?
A Walter P38.
And there's that you pull up. Are you a two-hander or are you a one-hander?
I'm a two-hander. Like a gentleman.
I had to ask, but of course.
Proper.
So he has the proper, pulls up the pistol, takes the proper aim, and with half a second of aiming, the trigger is pulled. A loud clack rings and echoes across the forest and empty lands around this tire shop on the outer skirts of Gary, Indiana. And Vera, as you're running, you watch the back window shatter, leaving a huge open space that in the back area where you could see two other heads sat in the back seat. You're able to catch up. You're able to catch up at the end of this round is when you would be at the back end of the vehicle because it's not quite faster than you at this point.
I pulled 2 daggers, since now I have to carry knives again. Thank you, Jackson. And I put them in the back tires of this van.
Okay, give me a dexterity melee roll, please. Robert.
And I have a specialty in
after you use that deft shot and the window blows open, what is his next? What would Robert do next? Would he attempt to fire again as the car keeps moving, or what would he want to do?
Yes, I believe my best choice would be to keep firing.
You just into that back.
I know that I can't. I don't have the
dexterity, the celerity,
the speed that Vera.
Yeah, absolutely. So please make me another dexterity firearms roll. As Vera, as you catch up to the car, you're about maybe 5 feet away from it. As you have slide both daggers out from your sleeves, grasp both them by the tips of the blade, and with a deft throw, quickly kind of huck them at each individual tire. In the meanwhile, you critted. Oh, goddamn, you critted. Holy crap. Okay, so 5 successes with the crit. As the daggers slip from your fingertips, our camera rushes backward right over to Robert's shoulder as he lines up another shot, and the bullet is let loose with another loud crack of the gun. We follow the bullet forward past Vera, and as we see the knives slide into the tires, and you hear that definitive pop on both of them, the bullet flies into the head of the man on the right. Blood spatters into the window, and you hear a crack as his head slams into it hard, and his body slumps forward. Clearly, one of them was kind. The tires then rip up as rubber goes flying. Your daggers are sent flying backwards. Please make me a dexterity athletics roll, Vera.
Okay, just a flat one.
Just a flat one.
Sure.
4.
It's a 4.
As the daggers are both whipped by, they're spinning in wobbly directions, but you're able to reach out and snag one of them out of the air as it comes whipping by you, giving you at least one weapon, while the other dagger you watch gets flung into the trees and the nearby tree line on your right-hand side. The car swerves left and then right, leaving huge tire marks on the road before it bounces off into the pit and then slams into the nearby tree, sending the man in the driver's seat careening forward out of the driver's side window, head first into the tree before he lands on the on the hood of the car. The individual in the back seems like they were probably buckled in. Robert, you can clearly see this. The car did not get to a super high speed before you shot man in the back of the head and Vera popped the tires. You could approach in about 2 rounds. You can get to where Vera is and where the car is busted. Vera, the car is off to your right-hand side. You watch that chaos happen as the car is completely totaled in the front end. You see this white steam and smoke billowing upward from the engine and hit that telltale hiss of a car that is not quite working any longer.
Yeah, so Vera looks over to
As she looks back over her shoulder, Robert has his pistol out, but he's making his way over, running, by his side. Yeah, I imagine you have it by your side. He's a gentleman with safety.
Yes, sure.
If you wait for him, it takes
so
him about
much for
6 seconds because
evening.
each round is 3 seconds, so it could take him about 6 seconds to get to you if you just wait.
And they're both dead.
Well, you make me a wits awareness as you wait for Robert.
Probably not my best roll. 2.
You actually, after a few moments, you see the other back passenger side door kind of get creaking, and you hear the creaking of aluminum as it struggles to open before you see a foot press up against it, and the other body kind of just tumble out the back seat onto the grass, grasping at their side. Robert eventually, obviously at this point, arrives, and Robert, you can see the same scene that she sees, but now next to Vera.
I'd like to grab him.
Robert or the man? Oh,
No,
the individual.
the
Yeah,
man.
okay, I was like, Robert's
But
here. You
I
want to
don't
grab
like-
him? Go ahead.
Yes, Vera doesn't touch things, so she looks at Robert. She goes, "Can we bind him or something?"
In a regular American accent, I say, "Stay right there. Help is on the way."
So you go up to the person on the ground as they're grasping their side, bleeding, clearly kind of bleeding out everywhere. And you can immediately tell they are mortal as they are gasping and desperate for breath. And they look up to you as you say that, but you can tell, even just by the look in their eyes, they're not quite, they're like phasing in and out. The blood loss is already getting to them. They're having a hard time like maintaining eye contact before they just kind of lean over to their side. But Robert, as you approach that person, the man on the hood groans for a moment before his hand hits the hood on both sides, and you hear him begin to push himself up.
Wait, is the man on the hood the one wearing the hoodie?
Yes. Hilariously, yes. I didn't even think of that. But you hear him in Vera, you also as well. But Robert's the closest as he walked up to the car to the person who's bleeding out. And as the person grunts on the hood, the person who was bleeding out below you does pass out at that point. What do you do, Robert, with the person on the hoodie?
Does he look like a mortal also?
If you do a quick wits, like a quick inspection from here, give me a wits awareness to see if you see any like blood or anything. With the 3 successes looking over him, you would expect a gory scene, blood to be spattered where the window broke as he went flying through it, but you do not see any blood whatsoever.
I try to seize him and pull his arms behind his back and hold him.
Strength brawl check, please. With 2 at the moment is enough. He doesn't really struggle as you go behind him and grab him by his arms and yank him off the hood. It's and you put his arms behind his back and you kind of hold him in a position of helplessness, being able to keep his arms bound. Do you try to tie his arms up, or do you try to hold them yourself and hold him in place?
I'm going to hold him until Vera arrives, and then
his hoodie slides back.
We'll look for something we can
use. His hoodie slides back, and you can see really short brown hair as his glasses have already fallen off, and underneath just kind of plain brown eyes.
Is the building still burning?
Oh yeah, the fire is still spreading. It's not quite caught
in the building.
It's catching up to the building. It's like at the front of the building itself. But he like,
where's Sean?
Sean's out doing work, but
so is Max. It's okay. Question: what is as you're holding this man? I go. Dare I ask, Robert? Do you think you can move this vehicle?
Move it back into the. I mean, let's take a look.
Definitely not drivable. Are you asking if he can pull it?
It's not. Yeah, if he and I could together,
you definitely
pull
could
it
together
out
pull
the
it for sure.
Okay, I say get him tied up and put to the side. We're going to put the other 2 bodies in the front seat, and we are going to crash this into the building. We will report it and get insurance money off of it.
I love how you think. It's
excellent.
What do you do with this guy though, as he's like being held by Robert right now?
We have something to tie him up with. Let's see. What does Vera? I'm sure we have.
Let's use his hoodie.
Around.
We'll use his hoodie against him.
I mean, you could
tie him up,
rip up his hoodie.
Sure, yeah.
Whoever's
rip up his hoodie, tie him up. We're just gonna
athletics,
put him on the side
check.
for a minute.
You very easily tie a very difficult knot to break. For those who are listening, 3 is considered hard difficulty, 2 is considered normal, 1 is considered easy, and then 4 and 5 are like extra hard.
Great.
So you tie a very, very good, very sturdy knot with his hands behind his back, his legs too, if you choose to. And I'm assuming you kind of just leave him there for now as you move the car into a position and make the phone calls you need to make.
Yep.
And you do so. You can even punch this guy in the jaw and like knock him out if you so choose, however you want. But eventually, I'm not going to make you roll. The 2 of you are able to move this car with relative ease. While you are not Maxwell, who can maybe be able to lift this vehicle, you are still kindred, and you are still stronger and more capable of any mortal on this planet. And so either one of you could move it on your own, but moving it together is much quicker. And you put it in a position that you knock things over, look at like, make it look like a true car accident with the tire swerves as serving as evidence, and make a call to whoever's needed. And within, it's Gary, 10 to 15 minutes, the fire department might arrive. You're also on the outskirts, but Duke would be proud of that call. I think it was a great
I
vehicle.
know. I'm learning.
However,
can we?
yep.
I'd like to take the body or
Yeah.
this man, whoever it is, with the short brown hair, and put him in the trunk of our
Yeah,
other
absolutely.
car, the
You
one
do
that
so.
John
And
drives.
as you do it, he's like, what
and
the
get
fuck
it
do you
out
think
of
you're
here.
doing? You like shut the trunk as he's trying to speak.
Hoodie into mouth.
Okay, yeah, you jam the
bye.
hoodie into his mouth. Into the trunk he goes.
And I just tell John to let's see. Where could we go that makes sense? He's in the trunk. We don't want to be seen. Do we technically own the bank now, even though it hasn't undergone?
Yeah, you could easily, and even if you didn't,
Yeah,
nobody's going there. It's abandoned.
correct. I suggest that we take him to the vault.
As you give the, are you saying that to Robert?
Just in general, have thoughts on maybe putting our vault to good use finally?
I mean, that's what it's there for.
John will just simply say, as you wish, madam. Kind of jumps into the driver's seat. Are you both going?
I feel like maybe somebody should be here when the fire department
Either
arrives.
or.
We did call. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, either one would work.
Maybe we shouldn't be on site, but I do fear for Max and Sean returning to a flaming tire shop.
Worry about that later. Vera?
Yes, I guess we're going to get out of here before the fire department arrives.
So you all leave with John, and it doesn't take long before we'll just, because I know we're running short on time, and I apologize to Sean and Max for not getting to you guys as quickly as I'd liked to. As you leave and depart for the bank, Sean, you were out taking care of what?
Well, first stop, he's hungry. So, he's going to visit some of those aforementioned junkies that he knows where they are.
Yes, absolutely.
And he's going to spend a good hour ingratiating himself with them. And, when they pass out, he's going to feed on them.
And it's easy. This is not something that Sean is not used to. This was his life prior to Kindred life and post Kindred life for a long time, as being a thin blood allotted him quite a few benefits. So you can play the role rather well, even if there's that itch of wishing that you could partake truly in the way that you used to. But you're able to feed. What's your hunger at right now?
It's at 3.
So you can take 2 off somebody.
So he only takes 2.
And you're able to feed them down to 1. Feed down to 1 hunger. So is that what the plan was for the evening? Mostly to ingratiate and find and build a repertoire. I know what we're building toward. I just wanted to see if that was okay.
Yeah. And if he finds someone important who looks like they might know stuff, he might beat them down. But mostly he's just putting out feelers, learning the situation.
Cool. I'm just gonna have to make you make me a roll for right now. I would manipulation, persuasion as a representation of how the night went. I would like to cut back to the bank and end the episode with one final scene. As you walk in and perhaps throw him, the bank picture can be seen on, I believe you put it up on the Discord, haven't you, Dot? The picture of the bank that you're buying, the rundown bank.
Yes,
we actually have a visual.
Yes, if I haven't, I can make that
definitely.
happen.
We'll definitely put that up on the Discord and Patreon and such. But it has been abandoned for many, many years. The outside is deteriorated. Letters have already fallen off of the front of it. And the inside looks no better. Plenty of people have clearly used this place to party and have illicit meetings and get-togethers and so on over the years. But even now, in its horrible state, it's probably been a good few years before anybody's even done that, beyond the odd person using it for shelter on a bad night of weather. But you find a vault that you could easily toss them in, and it's certainly run down, but still operational. Out of curiosity, is there any questions you ask him, or do you simply throw him into the vault? You could stake him.
How conscious
Pretty
is
conscious.
he?
Pretty conscious.
Okay. And he's very clearly a kindred.
Yeah. You weren't certain by now, you are now. By touching him, by seeing him, by realizing he's not wounded at all.
This is where we might see the darker side of Vera. I turn to Robert. I say, Robert, would you like to question him before I take a stab?
A literal stab?
Maybe.
Make sure he hears this. Sure. Absolutely. I would be glad to. I turned to him.
John, while we're questioning him, would you go run down to the nearest shop and grab me some salt, please?
Yes, madam. I'll return as fast
Thank
as I
you.
can.
So sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Robert.
So, let's start with the basics. Who sent you?
You just like rip the gag out of his mouth as you walk over to question him. Nobody fucking sent me.
I bet you never thought you'd be tasting that when you bought that hoodie, did you?
Oh, good observation there. No, nobody fucking sent me.
Oh, so you just decided to firebomb a tire shop just for fun?
I'm trying to get you guys to fucking leave. Fuck off, this ain't your town.
You think by bombing my tire shop we're gonna leave?
Oh, fingers crossed, I dust a few of you in the process.
This is your town?
No, it ain't my town, not yet. Was Juggler's, he gone now.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell are you?
He looks and there's a moment where he's clearly weighing whether he wants to answer the question or not, but quickly realizes he's in no position to negotiate. Fucking Arthur, if it matters.
Arthur. Oh, how quaint. King Arthur.
No, not fucking King Arthur. Fuck the cam. Fuck fuck the prince. Fuck hierarchy. Anarchs forever. And he spits onto the ground.
When my friend gets back from the store, I'm going to teach you a little something.
You still have those knives, don't you? Because, King Arthur had a sword called Excalibur that he drew from a stone. But we could maybe, in kindred fashion, perhaps twist that story a little bit and put the sword inside King Arthur. What do you think?
I wonder if we can remove it after. Or is it like a whole stuck inside thing?
He shakes that. You realize
Either
I've been
way.
living in this shithole of a city my entire life. Nothing you say scares me. Go ahead and kill me. I'm not gonna disappear. Other people are gonna come looking and you're gonna have a bigger problem on your hands.
So you're telling me you're not with anyone else? You're working on your own? Or, it seems you had 2 accomplices? Or was it just one?
Not so much anymore, huh? And no, I ain't working with the fucking Camarilla. Like I said, anarchs forever, freedom, diplomacy, all that good shit, the shit that they don't fucking pay attention to in Chicago. I don't need you fucks coming here and implementing your own fucking rule system here. So yeah, I tried to fucking kill you and get the fuck out of here.
How are you feeling about that choice?
Right now, I ain't so fucking sure yet.
Great. Has John returned?
A few more minutes, and he eventually does, with a bag of salt.
It's a funny thing about being a kindred. What was your name again?
He doesn't say anything.
Right.
Arthur, remember? King Arthur?
Oh, right. So what are you, Lancelot? We'll call you Lancelot. It's a funny thing about being a kindred. Most of us walk around believing that we are incapable of pain. Not giving it, but receiving it. But our biggest bane is that we are stuck inside these fucking meat sacks. And they still hurt very, very bad. So, I have no interest in getting more information from you. You seem useless. Instead, I'm more interested in sending you back to your dear King Arthur with a message. But for a while, I'm gonna let you simmer and think about the side you've chosen.
I don't think you get it, lady. There is no king. We operate as a fucking diplomatic unit. We vote. We're free people, unlike you cam bitches.
All democracies fall. And Vera will take her knife and will make a nice deep cut through the meat-fat part of his leg, all the way through whatever pants he's wearing, all the way almost to the bone, and she will fill that wound with salt.
And as the camera pulls back, we We see and can even hear the meat being sliced open, and then a very disgruntled, stifled scream as best he can. We pull outside the bank. We cut to the burning building, where Sean and Max both straggle and arrive at similar times, though from different sides. And we can see them staring at flames licking the roof of the tire shop, while fire vehicles have arrived and started putting it out. And on perhaps their confused looks, we cut to black, and we return next week. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Goodbye.